Welcome to the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here, WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. Let me say good morning to the you know who, bruhs in the studio. What's up, family? What's up, Debo? How you doing today?
I am stupendous. Absolutely elated to be here today.
Stupendous and elated.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
Just
Oh,
it's just one of those days. It's Monday, long weekend, tired,
one of
but
those days
just elated
that
again
a
to be
girl
here.
goes
I would be
through.
remiss if
Just
I
one
didn't
of
say,
those days.
what are you hunting about,
Oh,
Carvey? You hear him over there?
yes, I did hear him.
Just good morning. I'm gonna leave it at that. Good morning, y'all. How y'all
Carvey
doing?
must have saw the memo that it's going to be 80 degrees today.
He must didn't. He got a skull cap
He
on
got a
and everything.
skull cap on,
Carvey, did you
a
see the memo?
hoodie, and a jacket.
Carvey, did you see the memo?
Carvey, it's going to be 80 today, bro.
Talking your mic, Carvey. Talking your mic, Carvey. Wait. What y'all do to the mic, man?
We didn't do it. They might have to. Did they
Try
put
it
it back?
again, Carvey. Go ahead. No, y'all done
His
messed
mic
up
isn't.
something. They done messed
They
up
didn't mess
something.
his mic up.
Yeah,
Well, somebody might have been in here this week.
No. I got the call.
that
that mic wasn't working because I had to use the
because you
cord
had
from that
right
mic.
because you had moved it.
But what you done did, Carvey?
Yeah, Carvey up in here with a skull cap on, his ski cap on, and got his hoodie and his jacket. Like, bruh, it's gonna be 80 degrees today. I got sandals on. just just so we know. But while they figure it out, I think Debo tried to set him up so he wouldn't be able to talk on the mic this morning. Because we did say we was gonna handle that today. So what did you do, Debo?
That's him and Sharon
Trying to keep him off the mic.
No.
Because
Carvey, try it again, Carvey.
We said we were gonna handle that.
Talking to the mic, Carvey. Y'all done did
Okay. Look, y'all done messed up his stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, couple of things. First of all, where do I start? We are roughly about, let me do the math. It's 10 days left in October. The election is on the 5th. We are 15 days away. We are 15 days away from D-Day, from the election. And we know that, and somebody said it this morning. Good morning, Adeline. Somebody said it on the news this morning. If you think we have been inundated with campaign surrogates and visits and commercials. Hey, Alex, good morning. You have seen nothing yet. These last 2 weeks are going to be a madhouse. The vice president will be in town today. She is going to be joining U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren. I think they're going to be in Waukesha today. That's a stop later this evening. She did multiple church visits on yesterday. One of my friends that I went to high school with, Amiko Johnson, posted on her Facebook page. She said, like, basically, if y'all trying to get into the church today, good luck with that. Because the line to get into church on yesterday was wrapped around, the property. And like, what in the world is going on? And so I went on her post and I said, "What's happening?" And she said, "The VP is here, and you can watch it on live stream. But yeah, the VP is in Atlanta today. She lives in Stone Mountain. She's like, the VP is here." I'm like, "Oh, I understand. Happy Monday to you too, fam." But yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. So it was down at what is it, New Birth, Jamal Bryant's church down in Atlanta was one of the churches that she swung through. And from what I understand, it was just a crazy service. Then she did a rally in Atlanta, 10,000 people in attendance at the rally. when I say Georgia is amped and ready to go, yeah, New Birth Missionary Baptist Church was where she was. They ready to go. They are absolutely ready to go. But I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna talk more about the visit. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Kamala Harris's pastor, some of the remarks that he made. Uh, but my brother, I talked to my brother yesterday, and my brother was just so aggravated. And I was like, "What's going on, fam?" He said, "You know, I'm watching the interviews of people who were at the service with VP Harris and what some of them were saying when they were walking out." And I said, "Okay, well, what happened?" He said, "Well, you know, it was this little young sister that came out." And they said, "Well, what'd you think about her remarks?" And, you know, blah, blah, blah. What? And he said, she was like, "Well, she all right, but she still ain't saying what she gonna do on immigration." And so I said, "Okay." And my brother was like, seriously, Michelle, here's this young, you know, African American woman. And I don't mean no disrespect, but the biggest concern you got in this world right now is immigration. That's the biggest concern you got. Like, an immigrant is about to take your job. How, when, and where? You paying for an immigrant to be in this country? How, when, and where? Like, he was so aggravated. He was like, "You are in the epicenter. You know, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, southern states in which racism and the desire to keep people as black people as second class citizens, you know, and this is this, like, for real, this what you mentioned as soon as you walk out the door is immigration. When these people are trying to stop you from having reproductive freedom, even up to the point of taking a birth control pill, and that's what you're talking about. Like, my brother was so outdone because he was like, "This is an issue. It is an issue, but it's not the only issue." And to the point that I've often made, we can't be single issue voters. You cannot be single issue voters. So, a lot to get to. We're going to try to cover a ton of bases. Let me just say, this weekend, let me just check in. Y'all good over there? Y'all straight?
Yeah, we're working on some things.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let y'all continue to do y'all work then. But it's going to feel like I'm jumping around all over the place this morning. I'm going to work to try to tie it together. But let me start here. Let me start local. So, I did not know that there was a no confidence in leadership of MPS athletics statement that was announced last week by members of the Common Council. So, one, two, three, four alderpersons issued a joint statement about the MPS athletic department. So, what the press release says, and I'll just read it: Bayview and Pulaski High Schools, both a part of Milwaukee City Conference, have received letters from the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association, the WIAA, that detail both football programs will forfeit all 2024 games and have a 2-year playoff ban imposed upon them over executing a conference switch without filing the proper paperwork. Bayview High School athletic director said this was in response to a clerical error by Bob Kelsey, MPS commissioner of um, interscholastic athletics and academics for the Milwaukee City Conference. This is unconscionable, as the hopes and dreams of players on those teams and the coaching staffs have been crushed because the top athletics official for the city of Milwaukee, for the Milwaukee City Conference, Bob Kelsey, dropped the ball. Additionally, a large fight that occurred between players and the coaches during a recent Rufus King Bradley Tech football game has resulted in postponed suspensions for involved players and coaches that will somehow be administered after the season. This fight was out of control and ugly, and we believe these suspensions should be meted out during conference and playoff action when they will actually be felt by those involved and not after the season. This postponed suspensions decision was also made by Bob Kelsey. Additionally, such a melee is not reflective of our student athletes, nor does it reflect the culture and spirit of the Milwaukee City Conference. We have also been told about coaches and administrators who have stopped their involvement with the NPS athletics because of the dysfunction in how Miss Kelsey handles her duties. It is difficult enough getting good coaches and administrative stakeholders to step forward to help our students, athletes, but having them repelled to the point of walking away is simply unacceptable. We join many others who have lost faith and confidence in Miss Kelsey's ability to serve effectively as the NPS Commissioner of Athletic Sports. Now, I don't know how many of y'all follow or pay attention to what's going on, but
Yo,
you in there?
man, that thing.
I think I heard. I think I heard. I think I heard him. So I just want to just say, it is interesting to see like what's happening and what's going on in the district, and we got issues all across the board. Um, if there's differential treatment being provided to schools, interesting. I hadn't heard about the big fight over at Rufus King. I mean, with Rufus King and the Bradley Tech football game. I hadn't heard about that. Um, but when you look at the programs forfeiting all of their games and a 2-year ban because of a switch and some paperwork, that didn't have anything to do with the youth and the children playing the sport. Excuse me. So you gotta wonder, how do we deal with some of this in a way that is fair? But
Did they say did Rufus King receive any?
they're gonna get punished after the season.
Okay.
So and then again, it's hard to kind of speak on it because I'm like, were players fighting? Who was fighting?
Mm-hmm. But Michelle, to me now, it's just me. From
Go
what
ahead.
I'm hearing, it wasn't the coaches, it wasn't the players, it was somebody in administrative that screwed up. And now both of these schools are being penalized for the individual they named not following through and doing what he was supposed to do. That's what you read, right?
The he is a she, because Bobby Kelsey is a woman.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the he is a she.
That could be the first mistake.
Did you say that could be the first mistake?
Yeah.
Why you say that?
Because her name Bobby.
And
most times Bobby is a man.
Well,
Barbara would be like, I know people that are Bobby that they call, their actual names is Barbara, but this is Bobby.
No, it's Bobby, and her name is Bobby N. Kelsey. And it's so funny. I would just say this to the city of Milwaukee: if you're gonna put out a press release getting at somebody, at least spell their damn name right, because y'all spelled their name wrong.
Oh boy.
Well, wait, let me just say it like this: somebody spelled their name wrong, because in the Milwaukee Public Schools website that announced, oh, you know what? I take it back. NPS screwed up. It wasn't the city. I couldn't even get it out good. It wasn't the city, because at the top of the NPS page, and I'm on the NPS Public Schools website, where it says Milwaukee Recreation welcomes Bobby Bobbie in Kelsey. But then in the first sentence, Jesus Christ, it says Milwaukee Recreation is pleased to introduce Bobby Bobbby.
So they spelled it.
So they spelled it two different ways, from the headline or the header to the first sentence. And I was getting ready to be like, at least know who y'all talking about. But yes, all the persons got it right. NPS, see, this is why y'all ragging. this is why y'all ragging.
And this is who you got teaching your kids.
I mean, this is what you got teaching the babies. And it's right on the front page. Somebody at NPS, could you at least correct this on this page so I'm not getting at the wrong people? I should be getting at y'all.
There's no way the header says one thing and then the very first
line.
I could see if you got down into the body
and then you make a mistake.
But the very
first line, Bobbby. Like, come on, fam. Just... Anyway, so I guess one of the things, we had some people that were very, very upset because people tried to make it a black and white thing. From some conversations that I had offline over the weekend about, the Rufus King, they got handled one way, Bayview got handled another, and they want to understand why there's a difference and blah, blah, blah. Particularly when in one case they're saying it was a fight, and in the other case it was paperwork that had nothing to do with these youth. So
wasn't Pulaski pulled in there somehow or another?
It was two schools. It was Bayview and Pulaski. Yeah, those two schools received letters that.
But Rufus King is only being penalized because of a fight that occurred at their game.
Well, Rufus King and Bradley Tech, there was a fight that happened at their game, and it did say it involved players.
Okay.
So they postponed suspensions for involved players and coaches. Mm-hmm. So it was players and coaches. Yo, what's going on? How can we not just go to a game, Jesus, and just have a good time? Like, that's just so crazy.
So we talked about this Friday, Michelle, and we were like DJ and Keith and myself were saying, even Carvey chimed in, that for some of those players, like in their senior years or what have you, I mean, that's it for them. They don't.
And to that point, that's what the alders are trying to say is that you got some kids who have, an ability to go play college ball. Mm-hmm. And if you like knocking them out like this for the rest of the season, what does that do for those young mm-hmm. people? Was there a different way to handle this, particularly since it didn't have anything to do with the kids? Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to say, without having all the details and being versed on the situation, and hopefully NPS and the school board directors can provide some clarity. If this was something that the children are not responsible for, and not even necessarily maybe, I don't know, the coaches.
Because they're saying that they switched conferences they weren't supposed to be playing those games within the conference they played them in.
Yeah, so they banned them.
But they didn't make their schedule. Somebody gave them
executing
that schedule.
A conference switch without following the proper paperwork.
Well, somebody gave them the schedule.
Yeah, this is crazy. I just know it was the talk of the little area that I was at, and a bunch of brothers brought it up and was like, mm-hmm. Michelle, did you see this? And I was like, I had not seen it. The press release, I did get the press release, but I hadn't, gone through it yet to kind of figure out what was going on. But somebody said my grandson is on Rufus King's football team. Got to find out what went on. So she was saying she didn't know either what has happened, but anything that's going to impact these young people negatively that did not have anything to do with them, I think that's out of order.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And so we're going to have to figure it out. And, I actually will see if I can get State Representative Myers to reach out to the district to see if there's something that she can learn about what's going on and why a decision would be made like this that will punish these young people in this way.
And so they didn't know that the entire season that they were playing in a conference they weren't supposed to until it's playoff time. That's when they figured it out.
No, I don't know. No, it just says for executing a conference switch. Yeah, I don't know what they did.
But they're supposed to be going to the playoffs. Now they said they can't play the playoff games.
No, they like are forfeiting all of their 2024 games.
Initially it was like,
and then they have a 2-year playoff ban.
Wow.
So they can't go to the playoffs for 2 years, and they forfeit all their games for this year.
So what is
that's a heck of a disciplinary action.
If I were to go to Rufus King per se, and I'm a freshman coming in, what's the incentive to come there knowing we can't even
But that's not King. That's at Bayview Pulaski.
I'm saying, okay, whatever the schools are that are affected.
That's at Bayview Pulaski.
What's the use of playing? We all we can do is win season games. We can't even play in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, it really is meant to be. And and it may be something that was necessary if the coaching staff was really out of order like that. I don't understand the details, but what it says is it was a clerical error. Now they could be lying. It could have been they actually did, do something untoward. I think that it requires a conversation, and I think that the athletic director or
Where's
Bobby, she needs to make a statement.
Where's Bobby? Let's get Bobby on the line.
We gonna need
I'm like, Trump, where's Bobby? Where's Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
we we go
We need to
we're
holler
gonna
at Bobby.
definitely need to have a conversation, and I think it's appropriate that people weigh in and help, people understand. And I'm assuming that by the time the alders get to a point that they got to release a press release, that they've already tried to talk to NPS or tried to talk to their respective school board directors and get an answer to this, and maybe they didn't get it. That part would be interesting too, to see what they did in relationship to the school board, because at the end of the day, you know I don't know that Bobby is the end all be all on how these decisions get made, but I just thought it was interesting because this whole thing is happening, and I hadn't heard anybody talking about it until this weekend. So I said I would flag it and bring it up.
No, it's
And
been out.
then
It's been out there for about a week and a half, maybe.
okay, because the press release came out on October 15th. So that's how long I've had it sitting in my inbox. So I will again reach out to State Representative Lakeisha Myers' office and see if
Tell
she
her to
can
get a
make
hold of
some.
Bobby. And we want to talk to
Yeah,
Bobby.
let's.
Get Bobby on there. Yeah, I want to talk to Bobby.
And people don't understand. Again, when we think about the role of legislators, elected officials, and those kinds of things, that these are conversations you can pull your state legislator, your state senator into. Because when Lena was in the Senate, Lena had a standing monthly meeting with Keith Mosley, a standing meeting. Now every once in a while we had to switch it because of scheduling conflicts, but a standing meeting.
Yeah, send me Bobby number. If you got Bobby number, text it to me. I want to talk to Bobby myself.
You know what?
Don't you want to talk to Bobby?
I am so mad. I do want to talk to. I do want to
Michelle,
talk
there's a young lady that
to Miss Kelsey.
I encountered over the weekend.
What?
And she said, "Man, you and Michelle are crazy." She said, "I can't get ready for work, man. I just can't do it." So yeah.
Well, I just wish she would say
I'm
you.
sure she want to talk to Bobby too.
I guess I just wish people would put it where it belongs.
No, Michelle,
you are crazy.
You have your hand.
You are touched. It's not me.
You have your hand in it. Trust me.
Not willingly.
As Mano say, all up in that thing.
Do we want to repeat what he says? Wait, what is this? What is this? Oh, they said, just so you know, it is some women named Bobby.
Oh, I knew that was coming. I was waiting on that. I was waiting for the ding.
Because we got some Deltas who chiming in, listening, like, tell him slow his roll.
Oh, yeah, Bobby. Hey, Bobby, how you doing?
B-O-B-B-I. What'd you say?
Said that was my auntie name.
Your auntie's name was Bobby?
Mhm.
Not Barbara.
It was Bobby Jean.
Bobby Jean.
Barbara Jean.
No, Bobby Jean. See?
B-O-B-B-I-E.
Oh yeah, you got people chiming in now.
Oh, on my heels. On my heels.
Somebody said tell Ike to shut.
They late. You didn't switch subjects and everything.
Tell Ike to be quiet.
Bobby Jean.
All right, look, family. I gotta take a quick break. Wait.
Why you jump up trying to take it? I ain't told you we ready for no break yet.
They're built in, bro.
No,
I didn't know you give them to me.
This hour, so we just
Oh well, you should have mentioned that when the show started. Then.
Well, if
I'm going by what is the
folks weren't,
the
the clock when
hey,
they
I was still sitting here. You had time to tell me. Don't play with me. Trying to put me on Fresh Street.
I mean, if you just want to take a break.
No, I'm good. Let's keep talking. Somebody said NPS did not notify the WIAA and the kids are being penalized. It is another death knell in the coffin of athletics and NPS. These kids already have limited opportunities. And they said, here we go with that silly blank again. Well, all right then. This is state legislative.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So calls are gonna get made today.
NPS didn't notify WIAA.
Right.
Another instance where NPS dropped the ball with paperwork and notifications and things of that nature. Huh?
And so I guess WIAA, i.e. Bobby Kelsey, Commissioner Kelsey, is like, we got rules and regulations, Mugs. And while I feel bad, this is what possibly the stated penalty is for that. So this may not, again, be Bobby, Miss Kelsey, Commissioner Kelsey, but NPS, again, saying, who dropped the ball? Who dropped the ball? And while, yes, it's a harsh punishment, it's a real infraction. I don't know. but we gonna have to we gonna have to get some information because somebody's like, hold on, I just got another text. Hold on, Miss Kelsey. This is MPS's uh
Hmm.
BS. They messed up. Whew, okay, so we'll keep it going. The only other thing I want to mention real quick while we on MPS, uh, you know, the news has all been chatting it up about the fact that we still don't have these 20 some odd resource officers placed in the school. And I'm just gonna say this: news outlets, media outlets, when you tell the story, make sure that you continue to say that this was an unfunded mandate. Please make sure that you continue to say that, because the state legislature was out of order to tell Milwaukee Public Schools that you have to put these police officers back into these schools. These salaries come somewhere between the tune of 70, 80 grand. You got to put these people back in these schools. We want 20 to 25 of them, whatever that number was. And we're not going to give you the money to do it. And this is a city already financially strapped. It's already financially strapped. And these people said they didn't want police in their schools in this capacity. So if you want to call the shots, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. You don't give these kinds of mandates to school districts and then say, figure it out and make it happen. And if I was MPS, I would never do it. I would never do it. I'll go to court. I will fight them in court. Be like, you can't be spending my money. That's like me coming in your house and creating all kind of bills for you and then say, Debo, make it happen.
Yeah, that's raggedy.
Just make it happen. We're gonna turn the cable on, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. And you like, I don't want cable, Michelle. I don't need I don't need cable. Well, we turning it on,
We
huh?
don't use that in my house. We don't use that. Man, please.
I almost said, said y'all got a bootleg box, but
No,
I forgot that nobody had them no more
I ain't got no bootleg
back in the
box.
day.
Everything's streaming though. I'm Roku throughout the whole house, and I just use a YouTube TV.
The only thing about like that trying to get local news,
It's all day, every day. I got all local, everything.
but I don't like the way the commercial crap. Like
you
you
can't
take
have your
them.
cake and eat it too now.
Yeah, well, yeah,
You get used to it. Trust me.
it's irritating.
And if it's something that I can't get on there, then I go by somebody else's house and watch it.
I mean, because we got
them.
both. We got standard cable, and then we got the Roku TVs too.
Okay.
But the way they do the news is just irritating. Because you got to wait and all that 2-3
Everything's
minute
in delay in my
countdown.
life anyway. So for me watching it in delay, I hate when people call me and say, "Man, did you see that touchdown?" Nope, not yet. Oh, there it is. I just seen it. Yeah. It's always
Somebody
in
else
delay.
weighed in. It was all MPS. They changed the football conference makeup and didn't report it in a timely manner. So I guess I'm going to say to the alderpersons who put out the notice, do we fully understand what happened?
Mhm.
Do we fully understand what happened? Did you talk to your school board directors? Who did we talk to? Like a whole bunch of people are weighing in. The school board, this is about the mandate. The school board should have sued the state. Hang on. Should have sued the state.
Penalizing them or something for not having these off. I heard
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that at one point.
Yeah,
How can
it
you give
is. It is a
mandate?
penalty that can go along with that.
Wow.
And it's just like, but again, you can't spend my money for me and then tell me I got a deadline and I better make it happen and da 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 da. It's like this was not life or death. This was not.
And they've taken 40.
And they only did this to MPS. They only did it to Milwaukee Public Schools.
Yeah, the biggest stick in the state, I guess.
Yeah, so it's just like, no, they don't have to. I wouldn't do it. Like, sue me. Put in whatever little you want to do, penalties, and we will go and fight it in court. No, y'all not gonna keep big boying and bullying people and thinking y'all got them over a barrel and scaring the fire out of them. Can't happen. So I just wanted to mention those two local things. I'll bring up a couple of other pieces, that I think are important. And now people, okay, y'all, I see y'all. People are now like, Michelle, we want answers. Hey, this ain't my job.
See, I know you got a number. Call Bobby. I know you got everybody's number. Call Bobby up. I want to talk to Bobby this morning.
I'm sick of you and your call,
No,
Bobby.
we need to talk to Bobby.
Look, so like, hey, I don't work in the state legislature no more.
Man,
He was like,
you
we
got
won't answer.
connections. You can get a hold of
Oh,
Bobby.
somebody said they do still have bootleg boxes. Do they?
Oh yeah, you can get them out there 7 Mile. I just ain't. Yeah, 7 Mile fair.
Somebody said clarification. When you say Lena's seat is still vacant, are you saying her replacement Dora is ineffective or literally not in the office? Y'all silly. Hold on. Let me see what else to say.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
You said the staff are running the office. Yeah, she has not taken the Senate seat yet. She's still in the assembly. So they are worried about a supermajority in terms of the Republicans because we have lost some state representatives. State Representative Maricel Cabrera is now a judge. Um, State Representative Dora Drake gets elected to the Senate. And so what they're paying attention to is the number count. And if they lose too many Democrats in the assembly, the Republicans will have what they call a supermajority to be able to override the vetoes of the governor. And so they are worried that there is going to be some 11th hour shenanigans and that a special session gets called or something legislatively can happen between now and I don't know, shortly after the election, the month of November, that they need to protect the number of Democratic seats in the state assembly. So when they call for this special election, this was already a conversation in the background. And then, as opposed to just having the one regular election, so this seat will now have basically been vacant. When did Lena come out? In January, something like that. All this time. So we held a special election for nothing. Now there are some, state statutes that they said that they had to look at and consider, and da 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 da. But the reality is, no. Dora Drake has not taken that seat yet in the Senate. She is still technically in the assembly. So no. There. So that's what I'm saying. In terms of the ineffective or effective piece, you'll have to just pay attention and see what you get. The other thing somebody just reminded me, and then State Representative Evan Goike came out because he ran against Chairman Spencer in the city attorney's office, and now he's already gone. So yeah, so there is a strategic reason, in part, why that seat is still vacant. So yeah, so it's still vacant though. She has not been sworn in as a state senator yet. All right, y'all. Let me take a quick break. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Be right back. the arena of all things politics. So, right now, early voting, in person voting, starts tomorrow here in the city of Milwaukee, runs through November 3rd. And there are a number of locations that you can go to be able to cast your ballot in advance. A number of people were asking me, do I early vote? And I told them it has become my standard practice now. I usually try to do it on the first day of early voting, in person voting, but I absolutely do early vote now because you just never know. Uh, we remembered when Keon passed away. Me and State Rep Myers was talking. Was like, I wondered, did he get the vote? You know, because that was that special election. Voting had started, and we were like, I wanted did he get to vote. I always talk about Barack Obama's grandmother who got to vote from him from her hospital bed. She voted absentee. And even though she did not make it until the election, she passed away. She had, in fact, cast a ballot for her grandson. And someone asked me at an event that I was at on Friday, Michelle, if I vote absentee or even in person early and then I pass away, does my vote still count? Yes, it does. So those were some interesting conversations. I was over at Pilgrim Rest Church this past Friday night. They have they've been in it for a little while now, but they have a new location, new church location. And when I say that this church is absolutely stunning, oh my God, this church was so beautiful. Um, First Lady Childs and the team over at the church, just gracious as they could be. We were over there for a voter engagement rally, and Pastor Christopher Boston gave a message. He is such a good speaker, um, and somebody who has worked in advocacy and civil rights, and making sure that there was equity and a lot of things that we do. And so he tied and strung all those points together very, very well. Pastor Teresa Thomas Boyd, who helped to get this whole thing organized. It was cool. It was absolutely cool. Felicia Martin, county supervisor, spoke. Um, and I just got to say that you realize the amount of work that's being done around the city, and people are talking, whether they can talk to one person or they can talk to 1,000 people. Everybody is doing what they can to have these conversations. And that's because people realize that there's a lot at stake. Like, let's just take a second when people are saying that a Donald Trump presidency is a risk to stability in this country. I don't know how many people had an opportunity to hear about a recent rally that Donald Trump had in Pennsylvania. And what time is it? 7:47? Okay, these kids should be on their way into class. Um, so he had a recent rally in Pennsylvania, and he got on the subject of talking about Arnold Palmer. And Arnold Palmer, famous golfer, uh, you know, people have revered his ability, to play and contributions to the sport. There are drinks named after him. I don't go to Chick-fil-A. And you used to be able to say the Arnold Palmer. Now you have to call it the Sunjoy, the lemonade and sweet tea that's mixed together to make this drink. And then you can get one, that has alcohol in it. But more importantly, you know, people know this man for his golf acumen. Arnold Palmer passed away in 2016. And again, this man, legendary. So somehow or another, Donald Trump talks about Arnold Palmer at a rally in Pennsylvania. Okay. And he opened his speech. Oh, that's how it is. Because he was at the Arnold Palmer Regional Airport. My bad. So he opens his remarks by paying tribute to Arnold Palmer. And he talks about the man's genitalia. He says, quote, Arnold Palmer was all man. And I say that in all due respect to women. I love women. This man was strong and tough, and I refuse to say it. But when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there and they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. He was talking about this man's penis. You are at a political rally talking about the size of this man's genitalia. That's Garvey just looked over at me like with the most serious face I've ever seen him have and said, Donald Trump said that. He said that. I'm going to play the audio. But this small-minded, it's an insult to juveniles to link him in that category. Like, and then they show these silly men standing behind him, not all, but way too many for comfort, laughing about the fact that Donald Trump is on a stage telling people at a campaign rally that Arnold Palmer had big junk. I'm sorry. It's craziness.
I saw the clip of that.
And like, there's this one man who does not laugh. He's stoic while it's all happening. And I don't know, because he was kind of stoic looking before, some of the other stuff too. So I don't know if it was in response to this, but you got all these other, hillbillies standing behind him, cracking up, laughing. And I'm like, somebody said, and his latest vulgarity tour. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. The vulgarity towards the vice president. But y'all, like, seriously, Republicans, this is the best we can do. You are okay with this? That with all of the issues that are going on around us, multiple potential wars, what we're going to do about, for the little girl who came out to church, the young woman who came out to church, immigration, what we going to do about Medicare, what we going to do about this, about that. And this is what this man was talking about. You want to pay homage to Arnold Palmer, who the airport is named after. And the way you do that is by saying, y'all, he had big stuff. And I mean, I'm just saying, I love women. But as a guy, I was admiring his big stuff. Like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God, Jesus. I could not believe that Republicans continue to line up behind this foolishness. That's how you know they are fake jaking when they talk about love a country. All of that is BS. BS, BS, BS. This is about power and control and sprinkle racism all over the top of it. Just sprinkle it. What did Dave Chappelle say? Sprinkle some crack on them. Sprinkle racism all over the top of it. This man, this grown, damn near 80-year-old man who is running to be in the most important position in the world, not in the country, in the world. The United States is a leader in the world. We play on a world stage. What we do in this country impacts stuff all over the world. And Republicans want us to seriously believe that a man who sits up admiring somebody's penis size at a public rally as a way to pay homage to the legend that is Arnold Palmer, that this is what we should be talking about. Somebody reached out to Peg Palmer, Arnold Palmer's daughter, about Trump's comments. And she said that it was a poor choice of approaches to honor her father, but she wasn't upset by it or anything, but it just was a poor way to honor her dad. The stuff that people tell themselves to be able to sleep at night is beyond belief. It is beyond belief. I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me. As people sit and try to make sense out of this whole thing. In relationship to VP Harris, his latest antics, again, he had already on the national stage during their only presidential debate, he said it on stage that he heard that she puts out. The foundational stuff was already laid. He said it on stage. He goes on to call Kamala Harris a slut. This is what somebody who wants to be the president of the United States, who has no freaking couth, ability to control his mouth, ability to be, quote, presidential, you literally demean the office of the presidency every opportunity you get. And that is what this dude said. He called a sitting vice president of the United States a slut. A slut. And, you got people trying to justify it. But you the one that got 3 wives and cheated on every one of them. You the one got to pay money to a woman in a brothel. You the one caught a conviction because people believe that you sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll. You the one got 19 women coming forward to say that you sexually attacked them in some way, shape, or form, sexually assaulted them. And you the one talking about grabbing women by their private, but you fixed your mouth to call this woman a slut? Republicans, both men and women in the Republican Party, don't make me call y'all names. Y'all ain't got nothing to say today? Y'all ain't got nothing to say? Don't nobody see a problem with that on that side of the aisle? You proud to stand under that banner? Someone just hit me up. They said, good morning. I saw the clip. I couldn't believe he said that. He called VP Harris out of her name this week. And then they mentioned a piece about him in McDonald's and the French fries, which I'm going to get to. Like, in no other world could this stuff be playing out like this, with the exception of white privilege. No black man running for president could be running around the country calling women sluts and bees and talking about they put out. And no black man could be accused of fraud and be convicted of 34 felonies. No black man could have 3 baby mamas or 3 wives standing up talking about he about to be president of the United States. And for all of these brothers that are sitting back like this is okay, None of you could do what he has done and be the president of the United States. Not one of you. But wait a minute, though. Because we clearly think we got some people who think they can. Hang on. I'm just looking real quick because I didn't pull the clip up. One of the football players.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Donald Palmer.
No, it was a black football player who had on a t-shirt. Hang on. Oh, what is that clip? Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Let me play that up on while you look.
Yeah, play that, and I'm gonna look for this real quick.
Okay, how come I don't hear it?
Women, but this is a guy that was all man. His man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I had to say it. But Arnold Palmer was all man. And I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this is a guy that was all man. His man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable.
Yes, dude.
I had to say it.
You didn't have to say it.
He didn't. You idiot.
You didn't have to say it.
Like your mind stay in the gutter or with your hand on somebody's pee. You're nasty. You're just a pervert. You're nasty. You looked at your daughter talking about you could date her. You're just nasty and filthy. So the football player, and caller, I see you, I'm coming. Antonio Brown. Former NFL star Antonio Brown hit the campaign trail for former President Trump on Saturday in Pittsburgh. Brown is African American, in case you didn't know. Brown spent the majority of his career in Pittsburgh as a star for the Steelers before a controversial exit from the team, returned to a cheering crowd as he looks to make, quote, a positive difference. The former All-Pro wide receiver took the stage at a rally to deliver a speech on behalf of Trump while mocking Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Kamala Harris, quote, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, did you really know they want to put tampons in the boys' bathroom? So he started calling Tim Walz Tampon Tim. Well, other people were saying that anyway. But I'm looking for the shirt that he had on because the shirt was so incredibly disrespectful of Kamala Harris. Lakeisha, I know you listening. Send me that. Send me the clip that we were talking about with the t-shirt. Somebody said they were former Pittsburgh Steelers while he was at a rally. I'm looking for this shirt, y'all. The shirt was so out of order. You know, like basically calling Kamala Harris like a hoe or just, you know, something crazy like that. And you just like, black man. Like, no, for real, black man. You mean to tell me you can't have a conversation without sinking to this? And that you think that it is okay. Oh my God, I love y'all so much. Let me see. And you think that it is okay that this is the way, you know, you have to engage to ask somebody to support your candidate. What did I say? You don't have to run nobody else down in the ground personally in terms of their character to be able to support your candidate. You don't have to do that. Just like the one guy, and I'm getting ready to pull his name up. who had to come back after the public lit his butt up about calling Kamala Harris the B word. And he was like, okay, I went back and I looked at the tape and yeah, maybe I was doing too much. And, I got to apologize. You shouldn't have never did it. Let me go to the phone line while I pull this clip up. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Antonio Brown is a nutcase. He's maybe a step above Herschel Walker because Herschel Walker is inarticulate. Antonio Brown is a nutcase. He don't matter. Bottom line, Trump's he shows who he is. The folks who may be on the fence,
having trouble understanding.
maybe on the fence, should if you can't just understand when you're being insulted, denigrated, and used, I guess there's no hope for you. The bottom line is people need to know what this dude is. Well, people know what he's about. The bottom line is what are people going to do? And it'll be real interesting to see how, if this election goes a different way, what that really says about all of the things that we've been told about the benefits of America. So we're going to do our part. Let's see if other people do their part.
All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the call. I mean, I just keep looking at so many of these women, both the Black women who have been saying that they're supporting Trump, and certainly the overwhelming number of white women. Like, if y'all don't understand that this same level of misogyny and disrespect that's being shown to Kamala Harris can easily be turned towards you, because you are standing behind and co-signing another woman. This is not about policy. This is not about a disagreement on, immigration or any of the issues that we face in the economy. When you start calling people bees and sluts, because you don't ever hear men refer to men in that way. So that's how you know this is gender-based. Not one single man has called Donald Trump a slut. Not one single man has called Donald Trump a bee. Not one. Absolutely not one. So you know that this is gender-based foolishness. So Lord Jamar, the rapper who was in this interview, and he was just so out of pocket, the way he talked about Kamala Harris, calling her a bee. The interview goes viral. Everybody just like hits this dude up like, fam, you talk about cancel culture? Oh, we got your behind. We got you. So now he issues an apology saying that, I'm sorry, I did too much. When I went back and I looked at it, that yeah, I recently come under fire for calling Kamala Harris out of her name. And as a man, I'm going to admit when I was wrong and that I did cross the line. Yes, I should have called her the name. Yes, I shouldn't have called her names that I called her. That's what he posts. But you were on The Art of Dialogue. Let's listen to that title, The Art of Dialogue, which was a podcast in which he called her a bee and said she wasn't qualified to manage a Dunkin' Donuts or a 7-Eleven location, let alone the U.S. You, an attorney, have been attorney general, have been a United States senator, is the current sitting vice president of the United States. And this rapper says you don't have the ability to manage a Dunkin' Donuts. That ain't nothing but sure and sheer ignorance and sexism. Because what man who had graduated from law school, who had achieved all the things that she has achieved, would then be told you don't have the ability to manage a Dunkin' Donuts? Not one. See, all of the ugly layers are coming out. And even though the last caller said that Antonio is stupid, and just a step above Herschel Walker, blah, blah. Just the visuals, though, the optics of Black men willing to stand on stages and berate Black women in a way that has nothing to do with policy. That has nothing to do with policy, but to berate them based on sexuality, based on whatever it is that, they think is okay to say. That's the part that's cringeworthy. And you just look at bros like, what is wrong with y'all? Why would you do this? Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Sister Brian, how you feel?
I'm good, bro. How you doing this morning?
Hey, I said, how you feel? That's a hypothetical question. Hey, well, check this out. I know it's a serious conversation, right?
Yes. No, you good. Go ahead.
It's serious time. I got a Monday morning funny, okay?
All right.
But I'm about to, Arnold Palmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to go have me one right now. You know what that is, right?
Yeah, the drink, the lemonade and the
I'm gonna go mix me up some tea and lemonade right now.
I buy one every day or dang near every day from Chick-fil-A. I drink them all the time.
Yeah, but real talk though, it's ridiculous though that people really backing that pervert.
Yeah.
He said he nasty, he dirty. I have a daughter, I have a wife, I have an auntie, and my mother's deceased. But at the same time, for women just to applaud him and clap for him when he's saying all this ignorant sugar honey iced tea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. I just had to call and comment on that, but I didn't want to throw that little funny in there about that Arnold Palmer drink.
Nope, no problem, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and since we're talking about, stuff that's funny and ridiculous, Donald Trump, because, you can't be outdone because you petty and you juvenile. And so Kamala Harris, who is trying to, draw the distinct line that my background is more in line with everyday working Americans. Like many of you, I worked in a McDonald's. And what are the stats? 1 in 8 Americans in this country have worked in a McDonald's before. Now, I never did. My mother tried to make me get a job when I was in high school. And I was like, no, ma'am, I'm not getting no job. I'm going to be working for the rest of my life. And my mother was like, Michelle, it's time for you to learn some responsibility. Boo, I'm already responsible. I got great grades and I'm in a whole bunch of stuff. I ain't got no time to be working. And then she messed up and said, and get you a little bill or something to pay off so you can learn how to pay bills. Who is you talking to? You my mama. I ain't no ma'am. You got me messed up. I wish I would work and put anything on it. No ma'am, that's not how this go. It would be one thing if you needed some help, but you don't need no help. You just out here trying to teach me a lesson. And I remember my mother drove me to McDonald's to put in the application. But see, she messed up because she stayed in the car. I went in McDonald's. I ordered some fries. I asked for an application. I looked over it. I wrote hearts on it and drew daisies and flowers. And then I got up after I ate all my fries and went back out to the car and threw the application in the trash. She was like, "Did you ask for the application?" I did. Did you fill it out? I did. Negro, I'm not going to work. It's not getting ready to happen. I'm busy. I'm a cheerleader. I'm in the band.
So
I'm on the debate team.
But you did write some stuff.
I wrote some stuff. I did fill it out. I just didn't say what I filled it out with.
Oh.
But anyway, to that point, 1 in 8 people in this country have worked in a McDonald's. Donald Trump couldn't stand that Kamala Harris was besting him on the working class background. So he gets a McDonald's owner in Philadelphia who is a franchise owner. So it's not a corporate store, it's a franchise owner, to close down their restaurant until about 4 p.m. and allow Donald Trump to come in and play games behind the dang fry machine. So he is in the background making fries for fake customers. He is not working for real. What is the point of going to McDonald's pretending that you are working, because you've been pretending you've been working your whole life. What is the point? You think, silly little crazy man, that in somehow, way, shape, or form, that you standing in McDonald's with your little McDonald's apron on, leaning over some fries, is the equivalent or comparable to Kamala Harris working at McDonald's as a young person. You think it's the same thing. Lord help us, Jesus. And the fact that a silly franchise owner, just like that silly Chick-fil-A franchise owner, would close down your store to allow this mockery of people who work really hard every day and bust their butt every day at your McDonald's location, who don't have the luxury of a Secret Service detail or paid staff and $1 million. This man is in here playing life while there's people working at McDonald's trying to live for real. I see him every day. Why would you, as a franchise owner, allow somebody to play these kinds of games? This man is a total idiot. You thought it was going to earn you some brownie points. You just couldn't let Kamala Harris have her McDonald's story. You had to have one too. Other than just that you eat it because you scared somebody going to poison your butt, so you eat McDonald's every day. Because y'all know that's what he do. Y'all heard those stories. That when he was in office, he preferred to eat McDonald's because he was worried about somebody poisoning his behind. To be so rich that somebody opens up a fully fledged McDonald's operation and let you come in there and play like we buy the McDonald's play sets for our children for Christmas. And your grandchild to my grandma, you want some fries? Grandma, you want a soda? I'm going to make you a burger, grandma. That's what they did for him. Nearly 80 years old. Don't nobody believe you like are connected to McDonald's other than when you turn around and they see how wide your behind is from eating all them fries every day. That's the only way they believe it. Don't nobody believe that? Let me go to the phone line. This man gonna give me an aneurysm. Caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning. I already got an aneurysm. It's still right.
Good morning.
Michelle, I seen that morning. This is Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
I was shocked when I seen that, and he put that damn apron on. And when he started talking about the golf club, there's something mentally wrong with him. Quite a few years back, it was a paper that said people who have disorders, and he's got a disorder. And he was listed there with Michael J. Fox, Michael Jackson, but they said have achieved great things with this disorder. But can't we have a psychiatrist look at him and try to remove him from trying to run for office because he's not fit mentally? He's low level retarded. I mean, I'm not trying to talk retarded, but he's handicapped. He's got some issues, and he never did really interact with people other than trying to make a meeting go and sign some papers for a contract. He said one time he didn't have no real friends. I mean, what does he do? Besides stand on the golf course all day. And I don't want to waste my time with him and call his name anymore. The other thing, this rapper, what was he on? What kind of podcast was he on? Because I'm willing to go on that podcast or whatever he was on and say something about his IQ and him. Why would he sit there and talk about that woman like that, knowing he's probably not even educated? If he went to school and graduated, he probably still dumbfounded in book sense and everything else. I mean, who would sit there and talk like that? That's somebody who beat up women, don't have no respect for nobody, not even his mama. I'm just saying, why would the rapper sit there and say some stuff like that about that woman? Do they can't stand women that bad? Who done something to them?
I mean, yeah, it clear. So the rapper's name is Lord.
Get some help. Huh?
The rapper's name is Lord Jamar. Lord. Yeah. Let all that settle in. Lord Jamar. And he was on a podcast called The Art of Dialogue. So you can go but you can just go to YouTube and type in Lord Jamar and the ignorant clip will come up and you can hear it right away.
I mean, I just can't believe this. And no one should be listening to his music, but the IQ of listening to his music is probably about what he is anyway. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but can he read and write? I mean, they don't say anything. I mean, come on. You sit here and don't talk about somebody like that. Some of those people don't even vote. Trust me, he ain't voting for Trump. They don't even vote.
And
They
that,
don't.
yeah,
And I
that's the
hear
other
people
part.
try to irritate people, Michelle. They try to say, "Oh well, I had somebody tell me a couple of times I'm voting for Donald Trump." They want to see reaction. I said, "I'm glad you're interested in the process and what's going on around the world. That's great. That's like that." They said, "Who are you voting for?" I said, "Oh, I don't vote either." That's what I said. They did. I said, "You vote?"
Right.
And they said, "I said, no, I don't vote either." I said, just like that there. But I thought, how stupid that is. Then they wanted to give me a story about different things. And I said, no, that's okay. But I asked somebody else too. I asked this man at Labor Fest, and he was talking about his son. And I'm not trying to talk about people if his shoe don't fit. You don't have to answer back to Kathy because I'm not interested anyway. I said, he was talking about his son. And I said, why he talk like that? He said, I don't know. I said, has he been in jail before? I mean, I was just trying. Not everybody. They said, yeah, a lot of people think like Trump because Trump talks like that gangster style, low level stupidness. And then them insecure white folks who maybe have a degree, but their IQ is so low when it comes to security, and they believe that the black people are going to take over, or colored people are going to take over. Then they talk about abortion. Abortion is mostly white women. There don't be a lot of black people. Listen, Wisconsin is not because I see it every day here, okay? Ain't nobody having no abortion. They're afraid that the race may change colors, okay? Because Trump said on one of his interviews one time, he said, where are all the white people at? I'm like, go to Norway and Sweden. Where you living at? He's not in the real world, but there's something wrong with him. He can't get a mental evaluation? Can't 4 or 5 of us get him committed? I'm serious.
No, I mean, like, no, and
I'm
thank you.
serious. We
No,
need to get a petition to get him committed.
well,
Have him checked out.
the one thing that we always got to be careful of, though, is, and thank you, Kathy, I appreciate the call, is that because people have talked about should there be a mental health test that people running for office have to take? Who's going to administer the test? Who's going to decide, if you mentally fit or not? And just imagine Barack Obama's forced to take the test. Somebody easily declares Barack Obama mentally unfit. Now I got to sue you to get my name, to be a part of the ballot. So I'm just saying, it's one of those things you got to think about. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
What's up, Michelle?
Hey, what's going on?
I don't think it's that hard. Stevie Wonder can see that he's mentally incompetent. But you know what I caught to say, it's a little bit of a joke, but it's serious at the same time, because you were naming stuff that if a black man would have did half that stuff that he would be doing, he would be disqualified.
Right.
His name wouldn't even be brought up. So I want Vanessa Williams to get her crown back. So if you're 18 years old and you could take a naked picture, and I think she just exposed her top part, if I'm not mistaken. But you have a first lady that could sit up and take naked pictures and be first lady. Vanessa Williams should get that money back, because they get money for that, correct? And they should give her crown back. Because if Michelle would have did that, it would have been all over. Point blank, period. So I don't know. Y'all gonna watch Bill Maher. If y'all could pull Bill Maher up on this Friday, y'all gonna watch Bill Maher.
I got it. I got it. A number of people have talked about it.
Lindsey Graham, I can't remember if he was on Meet the Press or if he was on George Stephanopoulos this weekend, yesterday. And what's that dude that was on Fox? What's his name? Brett Barr or something like that?
Yep, Brett Barr.
The way he was treating Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you a question, because this is what I'm not sure of. Because we know Fox is strongly leaning to the right. No, they don't hide it or anything. Does Meet the Press and them have to be a little bit more gentle? Do they have to be a little bit more fair and balanced, as Keith likes to say, than Fox does? Because the way that he treated her, you should have saw how Lindsey was treating the host the other day. And they talk. They won't let you get a word in otherwise. And all they do is like, Senator, and they just keep over talking them. So is it a difference how those stations have to handle their guests versus how Fox can treat their guests?
Yeah, definitely. Because Meet the Press is, one of the big 3 regular networks, versus Fox being basically a cable outlet, and they have a very different set of standards that guide them. And so there has to be a degree of decorum, fairness, equity when you appear on a Meet the Press. You can get some tough questions, but they cannot come in as biased interviewers. They are journalists. They're not just talkers. A lot of people on Fox are talkers. Not everybody has a journalism degree. That's why I tell people I'm careful about the way I talk and I characterize myself here at the radio station. I'm not a journalist. So I don't have a responsibility to be fair in reporting and talking about issues. I am a talker. I am a commentator. I, look at stuff and, just give my opinion and perspective about things. That's not the role I take on. Now, there are other people that see their jobs differently. But yeah, at Meet the Press, they have to have a degree of objectivity when they are interviewing the people that come on their show versus a Fox, just like versus a MSNBC. MSNBC is more progressive leaning. And no matter what they say, you will see that slant whenever you watch them do an interview or you listen to the station long enough. You understand MSNBC, while they are not rude and callous and ignorant, there is certainly a progressive leaning stint on MSNBC. So yes.
I got one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
If you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Because it seems like every voting election, it's always the 7 swing states, which I don't understand. So why does anybody else have to vote then? If it always comes down to the 7 states, these 7 states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, I think it's Arizona, I forgot the other one. What's the point in everybody else voting then?
Well, number one, you got to remember and thank you. And I'll try to answer the question. Number one, you got to remember, bro, that there's stuff up and down that ticket. So we're voting for the U.S. Senate. We're voting for, state positions here in Wisconsin. So that's number one. It's more at stake than just the presidential. And even if you got a Kamala Harris in, but you don't deliver her a majority in the House of Representatives, you don't get her a majority in the Senate. That makes her, to a degree ineffective because you can't get major legislation through. So these races are bigger than just the presidential race. You got all of these other down ballot issues that we got to vote on. So that's number one, why it's critical to vote. But then the other thing that we are seeing is that different states are coming into play now as important states that they never thought they had a chance of flipping are states that are now in contention. That the reading is very different than what we traditionally thought. This will always be a red, a conservative, a Republican controlled state. Donald Trump has done such an effective job at messing stuff up that people have been able to flip some of these seats in these states. And so that's the thing. It's not just that presidential race we got our eye on. We got to keep our eye on the whole thing. Real quick, in relationship to the t-shirt that I said that Antonio Brown had been rocking and some other black former NFL players. The t-shirt says Trump or the Tramp. Let that sit there for a second. You got black men walking around with a t-shirt on that says Trump or the Tramp. There is no amount of politics and economy and whatever the heck it is you saying that you care so greatly about that you should be walking around with a shirt on like that demeaning this woman. And somebody keeps texting me, she's not a black woman. I don't have time for this foolishness. I don't have time for it. But whatever you think she is a woman that's due respect. So the man who gets hung up in the brothel, y'all know my laundry list of junk on him sexually that's inappropriate. He's not called a tramp. He gets to be called by his name. Somebody just text me, the rapist. The rapist or the prosecutor. Let's do that. But just the fact that you think that this is okay. Trump or the Tramp. Like they would refer to her with Joe Biden, Joe and the hoe. It's something wrong with people. I gotta take a break. I'll be right back.
Discover the beauty.
Hello?
Happy Vaseline Day.
What's up, Arizona? How you doing today, fam?
Not to mention, His ass didn't have no damn. He didn't have no gloves on.
Hello?
I said he had no gloves.
Who didn't have no gloves on? What you talking about?
If you look at the Trump when he was doing them fries, his ass didn't have no gloves on.
Because he was serving real customers. He didn't need no gloves on.
They said we're going to get. He said we're going to do the fries with no hands, not touching anything. I'm like, that's what they said. Like, come on, fam, you touching fries? You doing fries with no gloves on, fam? With a suit on.
Look, bruh, it was all fake. Don't even waste your energy. It was fake.
Man, listen here.
It was fake.
Listen here. I know.
Oh my God.
Fake, but he had no. I'm talking about he had no gloves on.
Okay, man. It was fake. It was fake. Thank you, bro. He had no gloves on. Just no gloves. Thank you, bro.
He was doing fries raw. Raw.
I appreciate it. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. I love the stuff we focus on. Like, hey, anyhow, because we'll tell you the minute you're nasty. I can't eat out their house. They ain't have no gloves. I can't eat from over there. Let me just say this before I go to the phone line. Wait. Nah, I'm gonna work. Oh, real quick, because I mentioned the rappers on Club Shay Shay. There's an episode with what's his name? Caught on the hot mic, Instagram, Shannon Sharp. But on Club Shay Shay, he interviewed Fat Joe. And Fat Joe talked about how he came out for Kamala Harris. And he came out based on the work that he has been doing around medical transparency and billing. And he said he got like a bunch of hate mail and, black folks clowning him because he was supporting Kamala Harris. And Fat Joe said, so let me just be clear. Let me make sure we all on the same page. Because they, on Shay Shay, they drink. So he picked up the bottle of alcohol. He said, if you go in the store right now, there's a price on this bottle of alcohol. You paying $70 for it. If you go in some store and you pick up that bottle of water, it's $2. You know what you're paying for. Everything that we do, there's transparency in terms of pricing, except when it comes to medical care. He said, you go to the hospital and you don't know what anything costs before you check in. You don't know what the aspirin costs. You don't know what any of the services that you're going to use costs. Then you leave the hospital and they send you a bill later. You and another person or 3 other people could have all had the exact same procedure and all be charged a different thing based on your insurance, based on private pay, based on what the hospital felt like charging you. And he was saying, I would make different choices if I knew that an MRI at St. Joe's was $1,200 versus $12,000 out at Freighter. Hypothetical. It is what Barack Obama did when, under his administration, they made these fast food restaurants put on their menus how many calories was in this food we were getting. Because we'll buy a Big Mac, a Whopper, or this or that, and you ain't thinking about it. But when you got to sit there and look at that menu, and that joint say 785 calories for that fillet of fish, if you don't get that tartar sauce or whatever, but like 700 calories or whatever, versus getting 2,000 calories from just one Big Mac. Again, hypothetical, I don't know what they actually are. You make different choices sometimes when you have more information. So Fat Joe is saying, as somebody who's had to utilize the healthcare system, and I got a grandmother and mother who have to pay for these things, I'm advocating for what's right. That's an important issue to him. How you mad at that man for that? How you upset about that? So Donald Trump says, in the course of being at the McDonald's drive-thru. That number one, a reporter asked him a question. Basically, are you going to go along with the results of the election? He says, yeah, if it's a fair election. The last election was fair. He didn't go along with nothing. That's number one. And then he's also asked about, what was the other thing? So it was the fair election. And it was just, I can't even think of it right now, but it was just one more thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned. But the whole drama and piece of it all is that here is an individual who is completely out of touch with how everyday people are living. Completely, to the point the caller made. You in here making fake fries. Fake. You know, Chick-fil-A, all of that was fake. Staged. And you got working class people who can barely pay their bills standing up and cheering for you like you about to save them from something. What could you be saving them from? Nothing but people of color. That's it. That's it. Because the economy is great right now. Gas is below $3 for most people unless you got premium. Price gouging is real. Companies are still taking advantage because they got used to those COVID numbers. Because during COVID, people was making a killing. You was charging $7 for a 12 a carton of eggs. So they still price gouging when it's no longer necessary. So when people talking about fix this, do this, and so Donald Trump says in that window, callers, I'm coming. He says Kamala Harris is the most divisive person I've ever seen. But Klan. All of this is in play. And then everybody in which they go after her sexuality. Because I don't get to watch a lot of regular TV. So I'm standing in the room and the TV comes on and it said this guy is talking about Tammy Baldwin and basically trying to say financially she's out of touch with the working class guy because she and her girlfriend live in a condo in New York or some mess. Her girlfriend. And I said, oh, so this ain't really about, Tammy Baldwin not understanding the working people. Eric Hovde and the people who support him. You trying to make a big deal out of the fact that she's gay. And I'm like, this is her third run. I've never seen her sexuality be made such an issue the way now I'm paying attention to is happening now. So she doesn't deserve to be in Congress because she's gay. That's what we saying. That's why we emphasizing her girlfriend. What does who she love got to do with you and the price of tea in China? Nathan, nothing. And it had nothing to do with her ability to connect to everyday people. Because while they wanted to talk about that she dates someone or lives with someone that has a very high-priced condo and has a lot of money, Donald Trump got a whole complex. He got multiple complexes. So what's your point? This is not about identifying with the everyday man. Because if that's the case, it's no way you stand behind this dude. This was about figuring out a way to work into a national television ad that she is gay. We don't want to look homophobic, but we want y'all to be homophobic. But we don't want nobody to say we said it, so we just say her girlfriend. Y'all need to grow up. Mind your damn business. It has nothing to do with you. So, on one hand, I got a woman who loves a woman coming to work every day, showing up and doing her job. On the other hand, I got a man who rapes women and sexually assaults women. But that's who you say you supporting? It's that hypocrisy that I can't take. You got Tammy Baldwin, who was raised by her grandparents after her mother struggled with ALDA issues, meager background, bust her butt, work hard, do everything we tell people to do in this country to try to succeed. She does it. And now you want to drag her through the mud because you don't like that she loves another woman, which ain't making or breaking your day, not one way, shape, or form. Not one way. So you put out this thinly veiled commercial, and I shouldn't say thinly veiled because it's very transparent, that you coming after her based on sexuality. And you're using the whole fake issue of, bread and butter, working class people to be able to do that. Man, stop playing with people. Just like Eric Hovdenim is promoting this ad for all you Black Republicans that want to ride with these people, complaining about dollars that have gone to Black farmers. And you got a white man standing here talking about something. And what about us? We ain't got nothing. We ain't got no help. What about us? What about us? You helping all these Black folks and we ain't got nothing. Hey. Let me get you some information, fam. You the one been getting everything all along. Black folks been getting cheated. All they getting is some of the money and the access that they've been denied while you was getting their money. Eric Hovde. Black people supporting Eric Hovde. But y'all want to put out these commercials. That's racist. You complaining that Black people who have consistently been denied access to loans in terms of their farms. Now they get a little bit of money that they done fought for 20, 30 years. And not even fully getting what they should be getting. Well, they got these loans and these programs for these Black farmers to help these people, and we're not getting a thing. Stop it. You've been coming up the whole time. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, Michelle.
Good morning,
my sister. Wow, you really laying it out this morning. Let me add something about them coming after Tammy Baldwin. How soon will we catch amnesia about those lesbian pictures that Melania Trump is on the internet? She's on the internet. So if they want to holler about something, let them holler about that. But I wanted to talk about also the news media and how you can see how they're ABC, CBS, NBC, they're all slighted towards Trump, because when you said that Trump called Kamala a slut, I was watching ABC News. I look at it in the evening, and David Muir, I always holler at him because he don't tell the truth half the time. But he said that Trump called her, he used a euphemism, a bad word, let's say.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, what did he call her? Say what he called her.
Right.
He wouldn't come out and say what he called her. And then I realized that all that stuff is filtered from the top all the way down to him as far as what he's supposed to say. So these people that own these media companies, don't forget, these white CEO males are Trumpers. And you can see it in the way the news is being handled. It's right in our face.
Yeah, we definitely, and thank you, bro. I appreciate the call.
No, I got
oh, no.
Okay,
like go ahead.
Okay. And as far as these black males, Antonio Brown and all these other guys, what is that guy, the King or whatever, she just interviewed with him, they're coming out calling her names and stuff. But you got to look at the culture they come from. They come from hip hop. And to them, to call a black woman, out of their name is just natural. But here's the thing that gets me. How do so many of them hate their mothers? Because to me, to call another black woman that is to call your mother that. I got pissed off when Trump said, when Kaepernick took that knee, that they ought to get rid of all those SOBs, and I'm like, he's calling every black woman in America a B. So you got to look at where they're coming from. To them, it's just like me and you breathing. They'll call you, your mama, my mama, anyone a B without even thinking about it. That's just how screwed up they are. And it's sad. So just want to let you know that.
All right, thank you, bro. Let me just take a second though and say this. My son grew up listening to that same music. My son grew up listening to hip hop. I got a hip hop artist sitting in the studio with me right now, 19 years old, Carvey. That's his genre. That's the music that he puts out. One of the most respectful people I have ever met in my life. My son, one of the most respectful people I know in my life. The majority, the overwhelming majority of people that listen to hip hop, you don't become hip hop. You just understand it's a genre of music. You actually, can appreciate the lyrical skills and abilities that go into being able to do that form of music. So we got to be careful when we are willing to put people all under one umbrella and say, this is a direct cause and effect. Now, I'm not going to be naive. There are some people who mentally were not capable of listening to the music and being able to, make the difference between reality and somebody doing an art form, whether we agree with the art form or not. The majority of people don't listen to hip hop and then turn around and start cussing everybody out and clowning and acting a fool. Not to mention, again, we got to be careful because not all hip hop has that element as a part of it. There's tons. In fact, it started as a genre because of fighting for civil rights and the response to, discrimination and harassment by the police. I mean, think about Public Enemy and Fight the Power and all this different stuff. So we got to make sure when we talk about it in a way that's balanced and that we understand everybody that drink don't turn into a raging alcoholic fool. But there would be people, and we used to ban alcohol sales in this country because people thought everybody couldn't handle it. There's plenty of people can handle their alcohol. But for those that can't, it ends up becoming a story. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, sis.
Hey.
I'm sorry to call back.
You all right?
I forgot to ask you. I don't know if you reported back or not. I had asked you, I think, about a week ago about the BP on Atkinson. Did you ever get any information about that?
You know what? We actually got somebody coming on the show. And I've got to go back and double check because it may be this week. But yeah, there is some updates on that, and I'll be giving them out this week.
Okay, I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you. I appreciate the call. All right, now. All right, y'all. So, I'm not going to talk about Medicare. I'm going to talk about Medicare tomorrow because I want to spend some time on it. I was going to talk about that today because of something that the Biden-Harris administration did with Medicare that is game-changing. Number one, capping how much money you got to spend out of pocket on Medicare to $2,000, and then spreading that $2,000 out over the course of a year so that you don't have to pay all that $2,000 up front at once in terms of your expenses and spend down, and then be able to reap the benefits. That was all a part of that Infrastructure Act that they did. I'm going to talk about that because it's a whole bunch of people right now whose life is getting ready to be better because of those changes. Open enrollment is starting, and it will be going on for the next 2 months. This is the thing. We don't get to be single issue voters. It's too much at stake this time. We don't get to just talk about immigration for the young sister walking out the church that day. We don't get to just talk about, whether or not we agree with somebody's sexuality or whether or not we agree, with just any of this. We don't get to do that, y'all. We have to be more responsible. Let me end real quick with this if I can. Just a quick announcement. The Milwaukee Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression is having Stoley's Lives Day Vigil and Rally, October 22nd over at King Park Community Center, 1531 West Release Street at 5:30 p.m. They're going to be doing basically a rally and a vigil mourning the innocent lives stolen by, the police and the county jail. The community demands transparency and accountability, and there are a number of folks at the table on this. Got to find out all the different issues that they're concerned about. But this rally is happening tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Debo, Carvey, appreciate you, bros. Family, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.